Here we are, it's quarterfinal 2 of the Euro Champions Trophy. Argentina against Australia, a rematch from the Hockey World Cup semi-final that was played over the summer, won by the Australians. This is what has happened already today. Massive result in the first quarterfinal with Pakistan defeating Netherlands 4-2 in quite an exciting match. Still a couple of great games to come, but before that, it's going to be the Albi Celeste up against the Kookaburras. Both teams with a lot to play for in this particular fixture. Australia, of course, 5 times retainers, or rather holders of this Champions Trophy title, and the team which has won it on the maximum number of occasions. 13 gold medal finishes, 10 silver medals, and 4 bronzes in this competition. 27 finishes in the podium. Comparatively, Argentina have only had that one third-place finish, which was in Rotterdam in 2008. Jeremy Hayward has been one of their top scorers with 2 goals. Chris Cirello has also been firing them in, but Argentina have shown a lot of spine in their last couple of games, including their previous victory, which was their biggest ever in the history of the Champions Trophy, when they defeated and shocked, rather, Germany 3-0 in comprehensive fashion. Massive matchup to come up. First of all, we'll stand by for the national anthems of the two teams, beginning with Argentina.
What a fabulous occasion, what a fabulous format that all teams will still be playing quarterfinals. And as Pakistan showed, it's all that matters on the day. And both these teams will hope to have the bragging rights at the end of 60 minutes and
the shootout if necessary. Argentina, we talked earlier about their third place finish in 2008. Well, they have 7 players in their starting 11 from 6 years ago. Juan Vivaldi in goal, Juan Hiladi, who's one of the defenders, Facundo Caglioni, Matias Paredes, Lucas Villa, Juan Lopez and Matias Reyes. So lots and lots of experience. Also remember, they all won the Junior World Cup back in 2005 in Rotterdam. Carlos Rete, will be banking on those experienced players to come up with yet another big performance. They've already put in 2 in this Hero Champions Trophy. Australia have only 8 players in the 18 who took part in the last Champions Trophy defence, which was successfully executed by the team. Graham Reid was coach there. Tyler Lovell is in goal for them. Chris Cirello has had 2 goals from penalty corners, as has Jeremy Hayward. And Jacob Wetton has also had a very good tournament with 2 goals for himself. Graham Reid himself, 4 gold medals in this Champions Trophy and a silver at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. Known as Possum to his mates, and he will be hoping that his team certainly doesn't play Possum, because they will look to come out, play as positively as possible. They got a great result in their last game, beating Pakistan 3-0, and will hope to pick up from there. Our officials for today, both of them coming from South Africa. Dion Nell is joined by Peter Wright at the other end. And it has been a pretty good Hero Champions Trophy overall for everybody concerned, players, officials, and we've had a lot of fun in the commentary box as well. 59 goals from 13 matches before this. Juan Vivaldi will look to take control of this game early, while Tyler Lovell, as always, will perhaps swap between quarters with Andrew Charter, who's the other goalkeeper for Australia. Remember, 4 quarters of 15 minutes apiece, after which, if the teams are not separated, we will have the penalty shootout. It's Argentina who get things moving. Albi Celeste jerseys for them, which can sometimes make just spotting some of the players just a tad difficult. They're going from left to right, and up against them in green and gold, Australia defending their goal on the right. I'm Devayan Sen, and joining me for this one, I'm sure revved up for this action and energized by the first match, is former GBR goalkeeper and Olympian Simon Mason.
Well, and that first game certainly did set the tone for the rest of the day, and we'd hope to see that amount of energy and enthusiasm throughout the rest of these quarterfinals. For Argentina, we'd expect to see them sitting back, soaking up some play, seeing if Ibarra at the heart of the defence can police things. It'll take Paredes in the midfield, throw the ball forward to somebody like Manini to help him support Villa and Mazzilli. The Australians, on the other hand, their brute strength has not really been complemented by a degree of finesse. There's been a lot of power and a lot of pace, but no real impact from some of their younger players.
However, this man is known for impact. Chris Cirello almost bounding down the centre, just couldn't finish his entire pass, couldn't quite find Russell Ford. Some stout defending from the Argentinians. Absolutely, both teams, though it must be said, have been picking up some momentum. And Australia, while they did draw their match against Belgium, looked for major parts like the dominant team, although they did use a lot of physicality against the Belgians, 4-all in the end, and winning their last match. Now this one was deflected goalwards, just couldn't find the final touch. Matt Goads, Jamie Dwyer's cousin.
Yeah, it's an easy ball fight, and Godis has led away. He's got a little bit of contact in the middle of the circle, and as he's just gone shoulder to shoulder and then popped to his left, it's an easy forehand deflection. Look at the height of that press though. Godis leading it all the way up into the Argentinian circle, forcing Argentina back out to the left-hand side. So Australia setting an early precedent that they're going to want to push the Argentinians back to the flanks.
Again, a midfield ball, well won, just at the edge. Looking to spin around and find some space for himself was Jake Wetton. Already had 2 goals in this Hero Champions Trophy. Outstanding player who comes from Queensland. But this time it's been given away. For the first time, perhaps, for Argentina, a chance to build on something of their own. It's their inspirational skipper, Matias Paredes. Here's Lucas Villa. Got Paredes inside the box, looking for him as well. And the first touch came off the defender. Could have been dangerous. Jeremy Hayward was first to it, but Tyler Lovell did well. Kavanagh, in fact, was the defender.
Well, that passage of play is exactly what Argentina want. They want to steal it in deep defence, having been patient, and then counter-attack with 3 versus 3.
This is Dan Beale just down the right. He loves running down those flanks, has electric pace about himself. So a good pace already set in this game, with both teams looking to attack.
Ball into the circle, flashed in by Villa. There is the touch, as you say, but Paredes had gone to ground. If he'd been on his feet, I think he could have got a penalty corner, but he's gone low to try and get the tip in front of Lovell in the Australian goal.
This is a form of scoring that they used so effectively in their last two games. It must be mentioned, they were 2-1 down against India. So effectively in this Hero Champions Trophy, their last 6 goals have been scored without a reply from both India as well as Germany. That tells you that they have been picking up some quite useful momentum, looking to emulate and perhaps go better than what they managed in Rotterdam 6 years ago. Missed out in 2012. Had to be content with a semi-final finish in the Champions Challenge in 2011. But apart from that, Argentinian hockey, a lot of these players, we have seen them before. We have seen and heard a lot about them right from the junior stages with that Junior World Cup triumph in 2005. It must help, no doubt, Mace. We'll just talk about that after this move, to have a core of players who have played together for such a long time from age group competitions.
Yeah, in all programs, what you're looking for is players who do go through all the training together as a unit. It builds understanding, not necessarily as an 11, but certainly as the small 2s and 3s through midfield, playing out of defence.
Well, this time it's Australia on the attack. Lots and lots of space for Glenn Simpson to work with. But a crucial intervention coming in from that big defender, Pedro Ibarra. What a massive influence on this team. Oh, looking for a tip in, and it's the first goal as well. Beautiful touch from Simon Orchard. And in spite of a big effort from Juan Vivaldi, just couldn't control it. And Australia have the lead inside the first 5 minutes. 50th goal for Simon Orchard in international hockey. What a time to get it.
Great touch in front of Vivaldi. Simon Orchard leads across the goalkeeper. He gets his right leg on it and then tries to play it. It would have been an amazing second phase save. It's a super touch. It's not behind the back. Orchard's actually jumped out the way to play the ball off his toes. Australia delighted with that early lead taken.
Guess what though? In the second quarter-final, Australia have scored at exactly the same time that Netherlands did in the first. So they will be hoping, the Aussies will be hoping that history doesn't repeat itself. Lightning doesn't strike twice, and any other cliche which comes to mind. Because the first quarter-final saw quite a turnaround. But this will probably open the game up a little bit more.
Yeah, and Argentina needs to be more sensible about playing those bottom corners, because having turned it over, Wetton comes away. He's not got a lot in front of him. But Argentina need to hold the ball. They're not going to be effective running 1-on-4. They'll get away 1-on-2, but obviously Coach Retegui questioning why you would go into that kind of congestion.
And, he knows exactly what it's like to come up against Australia. Was part of the team which lost one of their biggest defeats, 3-8 in 2003. And Simon Orchard had set the ball rolling beautifully.
It's a great ball drilled across from Russell Ford. It's a touch off the toes. It's nearly an exceptional save. Vivaldi, good right leg, and then just the ball's got too much momentum.
Orchard again, the goal scorer, nearly setting this one up for his teammates. Daniel Beale inside, the man who captained the under-21 squad at the Junior Hockey World Cup last December in New Delhi. So some players who have some good form, some good experience coming into this big event. And remember, they're missing a lot of big names. So that just tells you about the exceptional strength in depth in Australian hockey at the moment. Down the right, Lucas Rossi, who himself is playing his 150th match in an Argentine jersey. So day for landmarks. Simon Orchard marking his 50th goal in the green and gold. Now this is a lovely roving run through the middle, and it's that man Tom Craig who has impressed so much. He's grown so much across these last few games, not in terms of height, but in terms of his exceptional ability.
We don't grow any more in height. He's a massive man as it is. But yeah, he's kind of come from nowhere onto the burst onto the scene, and starting just to deliver some bits and pieces in and around the circle. Not yet consistently, but he's getting there.
Well, Argentina showed in their second pool encounter against India that they have that capacity to come back, and to do so twice, falling behind by 1-0, then by 2-1, eventually winning it 4-2. They will need that kind of resolve against the 13 times champions.
And Rossi's been robbed. He felt he should have had a free hit as the ball came through, that he'd been stick checked, but in appealing to the umpire, Peter Wright beneath us in the commentary box. He's given away possession.
Delightful bit of passing play from the Australians. Lining it up, going for a shot as well. That wasn't too bad. Not a bad idea from Flynn Ogilvie, who's already had his first goal in international hockey in this tournament. An exceptional passage of play before that. Some passes which were done so effortlessly.
So as we see the chances created in the circle, in the end, it's brilliant. Ogilvie just going to his back foot and squeeze shotting. I think Vivaldi did need to get a glove. That's just sneaking inside that right-hand post.
And once again, who was the man who set it up? Tom Craig. Big figure, but drives himself through so effortlessly. Makes it look simple, and I dare say the defense seems to be a little bit scared about him, just backing off a little, not quite wanting to do anything rash inside their own defensive third. In midfield once again, Budgeon down the right. Beale almost keeping it back in play, but Australia evidently enjoying themselves in these first 10 minutes or so of this game.
A really difficult pickup from Beale because he's rolling away towards the baseline, so he's going left to right and curving towards the baseline. So even if he was to get good contact on the trap on the reverse, the ball's still going to be rolling away from him and off the pitch.
Lucas Villa got a goal against India and has been such a massive influence on this team. 28 years of age, playing his 152nd game. Oh, that is a great attempt and almost a tap in. Looking for a repeat here. Facundo Caglioni. Will he get some support? It's a penalty corner. Good spell of pressure from Argentina. Will Australia here go for the referral?
Well, I think it initially looked like there was a foot there, and Australia aren't sure, but they're going for a referral. In real time, it did look like there was a foot as it's pulled back in front of the goalkeeper.
You can just check the foot in here for me, please. I'll look for the foot. I want to look for a foot. Thank you. There were two of you there. Okay.
So he got it drilled in yet again. Argentina looking for that, but there is no marking, absolutely no marking on Caglioni. He's got the ball, he pulls it back there. Well, actually, I think that's the goalkeeper's knee. That's Tyler Lovell as he turns here. Nothing wrong with any of that. That's just two players contesting the ball. There. That's Tyler Lovell's foot. I think that just misses the defender's toes. It's the toe of that black kicker that looks to Peter Wright as if it's an Australian foot. Retegui, oh, he's got to be careful with that. There's a code of conduct that applies to coaches, and that certainly won't be seen kindly. Was accidental, however.
Yes, well, they've got to break it open, but not like that. Will this open up an opportunity here for Payat? No goals as yet in this Hero Champions Trophy, but an outstanding converter of penalty corners. The question, of course, is whether there is a PC here on offer.
Well, my suggestion with what we've seen is that that's the goalkeeper's kicker, therefore it should be overturned and go the other way, and Australia would keep their referral. But we'll hear now whether the view of the video umpire is conclusive enough to change the decision.
Peter, I have a decision for you. Yeah, thank you. There was no foot by the Argentinian player, therefore you have to stick with your decision. There was, sorry? So you stick with your decision. And I'm not. There was a foot, you saying? There was a foot. No, sir, I can't hear you. There was a foot, you saying? No foot, Peter. No foot. No foot, sir. Okay, my decision was a corner. All right, so we start with the bully then. Okay, is that right? Bully. Bully.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct outcome. A little bit of confusion on some of the chat, but we saw very clearly that it was coming off the goalkeeper's kicker. It looked in real time so close to the toe of the Australian defence. Made it very difficult for them, but correct outcome. Referral upheld. Those two green dots stay.
Australia getting away with that one, and will be quite pleased with themselves. But early warning signs, that long ball coming in from a distance, it has been used so effectively by so many teams. Yet again, that was the intent, but just couldn't find Matias Paredes, who also had Caglioni for support. And swift counter-attack here being attempted by the Aussies. It's Tom Craig. It's beautiful skills, lining it up on his reverse, missing, but again showing his explosive ability.
Well, that's two skills from both ends of the spectrum. Great there to come through. Now he gets his feet round and tries to hit and then misses it completely because he slips away from contact. But look on the far post. Commitment to support from Godes.
And immediately now, an attempt from Argentina. It's Matias Rey, who has almost found his way across. Oh, could have gone anywhere.
Tyler Lovell, as he comes out of his goal, Superman-esque to try and clear that. I think it was a big left-hand deflector in the end that he's palmed the ball away.
Yes, the big decision here will be, what does Graham Reid do? Will he keep Lovell on?
Well, you see the ball floated through. It's a great ball through, and it's a 50-50. Now as the goalkeeper goes forward, he goes left-hand. He doesn't want to swing his stick. The reason for that is that if there's any sort of stick contact, obviously you're looking at giving away penalty corners and penalty strokes. So by going with those big foam pads, there's less, first and foremost, less impact noise. And the umpire quite often can go and get a guide from that noise.
Again, this is Godes who's moving himself into a good position. It's Tom Craig who picks it up, looking to slip it through. Has he found a foot? No. There's Dion Nell, and that's why this is Lucas Villa. Quickly looking to get things moving. Argentina are in a hurry to try and get this equalizer inside the first quarter. That will help their cause no end. Oh, that's a poor giveaway. Can Argentina make the most of this?
And that's clever play, bringing the ball out of contact. There was 4 or 5 Australian defenders on the other side of the pitch. These are the angles that Argentina want to deliver into the circle. They know the deflection chances that they're looking to create.
Yes, and exceptional passers of the ball. Some of these guys, especially down the right. Juan Lopez, who eventually fed Caglioni. The shot was well deflected away by Tim Deven. Still with Argentine possession. Waiting inside the box. Lucas Villa. Lopez. Picks this one quickly, goes on to the corner. But still will only win a sideline ball. Remember, they have Gonzalo Peña as an outstanding executioner, one should say, of penalty corners. As we said, Tyler Lovell under goal has had a fantastic first quarter every time he's been called upon. Going by form, he would be changed, but if you were Graham Reid, would you consider perhaps keeping him on for another quarter?
No, I think you stick with what you've done, and they've had a policy of keeping the goalkeepers involved. Obviously, neither of us know whether that was just through the pool stages for Graham Reid to pick his first choice goalkeeper. I'd suggest that if he doesn't change Tyler Lovell, he'll keep him on for the entire game. You either go through the same rotation or you change your tactic completely. I don't see the point going from quarterly changes to half and half changes. That doesn't make sense to me.
Lovell a lot less experienced, the man from Western Australia. About the same age as Andrew Charter, but only 34 caps to 81 for Charter. Nevertheless, both have had a pretty good tournament, one would suggest. The only game that they were really tested, first two. England pumping in 3 goals and Belgium also getting 4.
And Dion Nell going in just to have a quick look. There's a suggestion that the ball was high on Ciriello. Certainly wasn't happy with it. It might have just caught him between the toe of his shoe and the bottom of his shin guard. And if it's driven into that spot, it's very painful on the front of the tendon that runs down the front of the ankle.
Got a couple of imaginative nicknames. He's called the Italian Stallion, and he's also been given the nickname the Big Dog by Rick Charlesworth. Says he doesn't like it too much, but he has adopted that as his Twitter name.
Really? He's certainly a big guy, whatever the case is, and that power, the upper body strength that he demonstrates, delivers the ball devastatingly quickly on penalty corners.
That goes on to Eddie Ockenden, but the captain just unable to control the ball on the first count, but that might work out well to their advantage. Does win a free hit here. Australia would dearly love a second goal to drive home this advantage derived from that opener. So well scored by Simon Orchard. That goal is just inside. Tristan White drives it in. Doesn't take a deflection.
How cool did Vivaldi look in the middle of the circle? Just a little step over the top of the ball. Second phase, it touched in nicely. Good defence just to force the Australian player away. Good sweep tackle. Then it comes in. Vivaldi steps over. No problem.
Walk in the park. This is, of course, Bhubaneswar. We are in central Bhubaneswar in a place which is called Noyapalli. Tristan White sweeping it through, finds Jake Wetton. But also growing in confidence with each match that he plays. A bigger role, bigger impact as Australia make their way through first the pool stages and now the knockouts. This time has he found a foot? Yes, he has. This will be another vital, just the last few seconds of this first quarter, which has decisively belonged to Australia. At the end of the first 15 minutes in this match, the scoreline Argentina 0, Australia 1. Very smart, decisive goal from Simon Orchard, but it's only the first 15 minutes out of the way. Hot and humid conditions. The temperature's gone up to about 30 degrees C. It's not too much of sun out there, but the humidity level quite high at 47%. And that has made things just a little uncomfortable for both teams, although they will be used to both heat as well as humidity, especially compared to some of the European teams that are in action right through this Hero Champions Trophy. Second quarter-final, the first one going Pakistan's way. If you've just joined our telecast, winning 4-2 against the Netherlands. That'll mean that the Dutch will have to now play for places 5 through to 8, while Pakistan will be fighting for a podium finish when they play their semi-final. Whom against? That will be found out after Belgium play India in the last of today's quarterfinals at about 7:30 local time. An animated Carlos Retegui, Simon Mason alongside me. What all could he be suggesting the team to do better here?
Well, they've done okay at this moment in time, but I think they need to look at where they're getting to. So that body movement suggests that they're faking to go to the air and then sliding the ball through to midfield. Then they can get down the sides and deliver those devastating crosses. Or having done that fake, you can then cut under your arm, eliminate and drive one-on-one with players such as Manini, Mazzilli, Villa looking to use their skills.
We were surmising about a possible goalkeeping change, and that is indeed happening. Andrew Charter from the Australian Capital Territory of Canberra is going to take his place to the right of where we are sitting, and Juan Vivaldi, cool as cucumber, but he has had that one goal conceded though, and almost pulled off what would have been the save of the Hero Champions Trophy. It's Argentina who get things moving in the second quarter, trailing by 1-0 against Australia, the 13 times champions. Captain Matias Paredes. Lopez can't quite keep it in play, but a sideline ball for the Argentinians. The lone South American representation, having won the Champions Challenge 2 years ago, which was played in Quilmes at home. Final resulting in a 5-0 victory against the South Koreans. Now this is a beautiful run. Oh! And it's been converted into a goal as well. Quite the perfect start for Argentina. Carlos Retegui is on his feet, as indeed he might be. The last touch coming in from the captain, Matias Paredes, who has registered his second goal.
This is all about the skills down the baseline. Look at this from Villa. Ball to the air, left and right, eyes are up, pokes it in for the shot to goal, and that's a fantastic poacher's finish. But this skill and vision is what sets the whole thing up. Nothing that Charter can do in the Australian goal. This is beautiful from Villa. Caglioni gets it goalwards-ish, but Paredes is there to supply the final touch.
All three of just about the same age. All three were part of the 2008 Champions Trophy, and they have combined to create some special Latin American magic here. Paredes with his second goal in this Hero Champions Trophy. 16th minute strike from him, field goal, but in all accounts that should go down perhaps as 1/3 credit for him, because Lucas Villa with majority of it, and also a beautiful layup from Facundo Caglioni.
Yeah, and looking at it tactically, it's just a surprise that Australia are allowing Argentina to get to the space they want to go, bottom right. If I was of some basic level of coaching, you'd expect the press to be forcing Argentina to their left-hand side. Argentina now a man down as Piat sees green.
Yes, just a temporary advantage. A couple of minutes in the sin bin for Gonzalo Peña. And can Australia take advantage of that? It's Jacob Vetton who's doing well down the baseline. Scrambling, defending eventually by Hilardi. Paredes restoring the advantage, and now exactly the same scoreline as it was after full time in the Women's Champions Trophy between these two nations as well. Confirmation of Gonzalo Peña's green card. On that occasion, of course, the Argentinians on home soil going on to claim the crown by winning the tiebreaker, but What will happen here? Another knockout match.
Well, look at the line of the press we've got mid-screen. Godes is keeping that ball to the left-hand side. Exactly what we talked about a moment ago. Not allowing the transfer. I do think that keeping Argentina out to their left is... The Australians are going to get more out of that because they want the Argentinians to go down their right. That's where they want to go in order to create scoring chances.
This time some good commitment from Argentina, allowing them to reclaim the ball, which had fallen for White's possession just for a little bit. Now that they've got that goal, playing with a little bit more confidence, looking to build another attack down that right flank, which is, as Simon Mason has pointed out, turning out to be a bit of a Achilles heel for the Kookaburras. 1-1 at the Kalinga Stadium. 61st goal has been witnessed in just the 14th match in this Euro Champions Trophy. Some quality finishing on offer. Lucas Villa, the man responsible for setting up the goal. Again, driving through with some superb individual skills, but just carrying the ball, and that's why the free hit goes Australia's way. Even Glenn Simpson, man from Victoria, going all the way back to Chris Cerello and recycling from the right. Simon Orchard, the goal scorer, but cannot retain possession.
Here he comes straight back in as that 2 minutes is up on the field, and will jog into the heart of the Argentinian defence. Wouldn't surprise me if Argentina start going to the air occasionally. They'll look for long diagonal aerials to try and get into the deep Australian defence. There we go. Not so much diagonal that time, however, they will go into that long ball to go one-on-one. That's where the strengths of their players lie.
Paredes scoring another field goal, which means that Argentina, just like Germany, are still the only two teams yet to score from a penalty corner in this Euro Champions Trophy. And when you have a player of Gonzalo Peña's ability, that does sound like a bit surprising, but that's probably a hat tip to the other teams that they've done well enough not to create too many chances, or not to allow too many chances for the Argentinians.
Well, and that's the big thing, is that Argentina haven't had a flurry of penalty corners in any game, really, compared back to the World Cup, where they were winning a reasonable number, and Peña was on fire. I mean, given the chance to get a flick away, he was scoring past all the international goalkeepers with frightening regularity.
This is another good run coming in from the man they called Manuel Brunet. And he has won a sideline ball for Argentina. What they wouldn't give to get an advantage in this second quarter, but that's rather careless. He's given the ball away. It's a chance for Australia to build on a counter-offensive of their own. Simon Orchard does well to keep his footing after slipping initially. All the way down the right. Glenn Simpson finding Russell Ford, goes out for a sideline ball.
Argentina needs to step out. There's too much time here to allow the ball to be drilled in. All of a sudden, Fergus Kavanagh had all the time in the world to look up and pick a pass. The Argentinian deep defence holds shape, but they have to make sure they get at least one midfield player to step out and through to the point of their defence. Line to goal, defending the easy ball in.
And almost in a perfect quadrilateral or a polygon perhaps, just getting the ball back into an attacking position. Australia once again looking to bomb something in down from the right flank. Eventually Jake Wetton does win a sideline ball, a long corner for his team. This has been sent in. Oh, and a snapshot, just couldn't get it on target, but much better from Australia.
Yeah, that's a much better passage of play. Rusty Ford in the end trying to pick, turn and smash first time. Not getting it on target in the end, but it was two first touches that went through.
It's been a much more even second quarter. Argentina, of course, getting that goal back, which was vital from their point of view to get their confidence going. And every now and then they get down to the right flank, to that baseline, and slap those balls in with a lot of ferocity. Juan Lopez again looking to repeat the same. Strikes a free hit out of the relatively inexperienced Matty Dawson there.
Nice little lifted ball in to get along the baseline. Manini unable to do anything with it, and it hits his foot. Peter Wright, perfect position on top of that exchange to make sure he gets the decision right. Umpires here really moving around the pitch to try the best they can to get in the right places so their view's not obscured by the players. See them rotate around the play, not just standing behind it.
Australia, as is their wont, making sure that they keep a lot of player rotations going in these humid conditions more than anything else. Lots of hydration required, quick bursts of speed from their players. Not too many of them will spend a lot of time together on the pitch. Fergus Kavanagh getting some support from the right. But have they retained possession? Yes, they have. Coming off a foot. So a free hit for Australia. Will be looking to restore that advantage if they can as soon as possible. The sooner the better. Match Dawson. Bhajan just slipping but still retains composure. Simon Orchard.
Now Simon Orchard being forced back out of that central midfield position, and that's where I think Australia have got to find a little bit more outcomes. The sort of areas where players such as Tristan White dwell in that centre half position. They need to make sure that they get something through the middle of the pitch.
Matthias Paredes with again another explosive bit of running of his own, and just towards the end, bit of a heavy touch. Otherwise nearly took on so many Australians by himself.
He's just flicking his stick out. The ball runs away from him. That's a great first flick and bit of balance, but he's a metre short of where he needs to be.
Exquisite individual skills in this Argentina team, right from attack to defense, and that is what makes them an attractive team to watch. But Carlos Retegui will want the result more than the attractiveness today.
Yeah, you have to feel that he won't care in the least how good this looks. What he wants is an outcome, so he'll happily play again to his strengths. He's not going to try and do anything different. The only thing I'd suggest he would have talked about in his team talk is intensity.
Australia almost getting into a great goal scoring position, but as things stand, it's Argentina will come away with it. No suspensions at the moment, so it's 10v10 in terms of outfield players. Menini loses out on possession.
Menini needs to be a little careful there as well as Australia come forward.
And it's Tom Craig using his physicality to good effect, holding off the challenge from the defender, wins a penalty corner for his team. Gonzalo Peña isn't happy. Will they go for a referral here?
Well, they've been penalised for multiple stick tackles. It's not the fact the player's gone to the ground, that's fine because the ball hasn't hit his body. There is an interpretation from Dion Nell that there is stick tackles. Now, are they asking for TV? No, they're not. There's nothing wrong. Piat misses it there. He then goes to ground. They're shoulder to shoulder, two players contesting each other. That there on the way back through is what touches Tom Craig's stick in the first instance.
This was getting overpowered completely, and that's why I also stuck his hand out. Just got a little bit of Craig's jersey in the process. Never a good idea. Now there's a couple of fantastic finishers in this lineup. Jeremy Hayward has already had 2 goals in the last game. Can he add to that? Bit of a fake. It's Hayward who goes for it, but the first runner gets closest and eventually wins a possession for his team.
Well, that was a failed routine completely. Some uncertainty. It looked like the stopper in the end had got forgotten completely what his job was. Coach Graham Reid will be livid with that. That's the most basic of errors, getting the call wrong at the top of the D. The player trapping it should have just received that into his stick and then bunted it back across the pitch for the slip flick.
It has been a magnificent 2014 for Jeremy Hayward, just 21 years of age, but was the best junior player at the Hockey World Cup over the summer. Where Australia once again retained the crown that they had won in 2010. In fact, barring the Olympics, you could say every major crown that can be up for grabs, and also barring, of course, the World League. They have had everything in their kitty at the moment. Beautiful deflection, well picked up too by Orchard. Got a couple of options inside the box. Craig is waiting, but Vivaldi's first to it. It is a penalty corner nevertheless, coming off his stick and deemed as dangerous play. Still no Cirello.
So play goes down the baseline, super individual skill. I thought for a moment the ball had gone off, but it's kept on brilliantly by Orchard. Vivaldi comes out, I think about a metre slow, so he's on a full extension save with his right hand. There, if he'd been able, look at the angle of the glove, if he'd attacked that with his shoulder up slightly more, it would have been a more effective flat barrier.
Well, they don't have Cirello in the middle, but they do have Jeremy Hayward just to the right of picture. He's got some support as well. Who will go for it? It is, oh, it's another mistake. But Dawson will send it back. Going for a shot. Just wide from Jeremy Hayward.
Yeah, so they've got a missed trap at the end of the edge of the circle. This is the second phase play. Standing away there. Look at the stick come round across the body. Comes out to top, takes a kick in the middle, another kick just in front of the trapper. It comes over the top edge. Then there's the recycle play. But what Hayward did was try to hit it too hard. Instead of just stroking it and using his natural timing, he stepped away and his right hand's driven through really aggressively, and it pulls it past the left-hand post.
This is a long ball and almost coming up to Brunet. Tell you what, Simon, we have seen a few balls bobble during these penalty corners, but why we are calling this Hero Champions Trophy the best of the best? Teams are able to recover and still go for goal. We have seen a few goals also result from missed traps. That just tells you about the exceptional ability of these teams.
Well, in essence, if you have somebody backing up the stop at the edge of the circle, if you manage to keep possession, you've actually got 7 on 4, because you've got deep defenders standing there in static positions with protective equipment on, so the vision won't be quite as good as it otherwise would be. The peripheral vision is impaired slightly, so you can often recycle it as long as you're composed, and that was the issue over Hayward. Actually, there wasn't the composure.
As one of Hayward's goals came off a similar routine in the previous match where they beat Pakistan 3-0. They seemed to miss the first shot, but then picked it up and went for the second one after an initial save from the Pakistani runners. Pakistan, of course, already in the semi-finals of this Hero Champions Trophy. This one to determine who goes on to face the winner of England versus Germany, which will be today's third quarter-final. Back for possession with the Australians. Chris Cirello on the pitch now. Budgeon. Devon. Oh, again, so simply done. Just losing out in possession. Godes. He has got a great run going in and a crucial intervention coming in from the experienced Khiladi.
Khiladi with a great tackle across Godes. As soon as he got into that position, he needed to get the ball back across his feet, even though he was one-handed. As Khiladi's stick comes out on the forehand tackle, as soon as you see that as an attacker, in principle what you're looking to do is then one-handed, left to right, pull the ball back across the body and look to manufacture the obstruction in the corner.
Only one Argentinian we haven't seen anything of as yet. I doubt he's come on, but we will see surely at some stage. Agustin Mazzilli, man who's quite a magician up front. But Argentina haven't had too many occasions to rove up front. But this is turning out to be delightful, but it'll just be clipped in its wings. Manuel Brunet was making it look like a stroll in the park.
Yeah, Manuel Brunet as he drove down the right midfield channel. Superb one-on-one skills.
Oh, this is coming. It's been missed by the first defender. Could have been a snapshot opportunity. Caglioni again goes for it. That could have gone anywhere.
Yet again, the angle of pass into the circle. There's no defending. At a zone defence, you have to front mark that player, even if you're not man-to-man.
And ultimately, young Flynn Ogilvie doing well just to create a physical barrier. Otherwise, Caglioni had a sight of goal. And who knows, with his finishing ability, has an eye for the spectacular, could have come up with one of the best goals thus far of the Hero Champions Trophy. As things stand, we are into the last minute of this first half, which has been quite engrossing. 1-1 at the moment.
Paredes just calming things down in the middle, recognising where we are in this second quarter, knowing that there's no point forcing the ball because the Australians can then counter-attack with numbers. They will absolutely charge through this last 45 seconds. Tom Craig doing the running to try and keep Argentina to one side.
Going down the left, sending the ball in, hoping rather than any realistic ability there for Trevisan to get to the ball. But they have won this free hit with just about 15 seconds to go.
Yeah, ball bobbling out of play by Australia.
Sent in from the reverse, needed to be clean defending, and that was the case from Devon. And eventually the clearance comes in as well. That is the end of that in terms of the second quarter. And it means at half-time this quarter-final is beautifully poised. Argentina 1, Australia 1. Fantastic goals, first from Simon Orchard and then another beautiful field goal from Matias Paredes, which means, of course, that Argentina haven't as yet scored from a penalty corner. They almost got one, but it was overturned thanks to a decisive and correct reversal, or referral rather, from the Australian squad. That's why this match is very, very closely poised. Argentina did find that equalizer, and they will need to find a little bit more in the tank. But it's been a much more competitive second quarter compared to the first. 1 goal for Australia in the first quarter, 1 to Argentina in the second. This match is still pretty much up for grabs in this entire fixture. This to decide, remember, who plays either one of England or Germany. Halftime score: Argentina 1, Australia 1. Much like the first quarter-final of the day, this game is also tantalizingly poised at halftime. Argentina have equalized through Matias Paredes, and that has cancelled out Simon Orchard's opener in the 5th minute for Australia. Big game. Simon Mason alongside me just to analyse what has been quite an entertaining first 30 minutes.
It has indeed, and it was started in the 5th minute with a great touch goal off the toes in past Vivaldi. Almost an incredible second phase save, but wasn't to be. Argentina then came down through their favourite channel at the start of that second quarter. That three-man weave across the face of goal. Villa to start with, onto Gaglione, and then Paredes touching it in at the far post with great awareness. Good body position to launch himself at the ball, so the deflection goes into the goal rather than skewing back across it.
And what these numbers do tell you that perhaps Australia has, on the whole, dominated the balance of play, but Argentina, a few times that they've had those baseline balls, it looks like Australians, even if they had sledgehammers in their hands rather than hockey sticks, they wouldn't be able to take it away.
Yeah, that's true, and I think, however, from Australian perspective, they'll be just a little concerned about their defensive shape, where they're allowing Argentina to get to. Those stats show that they've had possessions quite even, but Argentina is sitting back in their defensive zone and then just going into the top right-hand pocket and dribbling and smashing it in from there. You could draw a box on a coaching board and say, don't let them go there. They'll get no outcomes. So the Aussies need to change some stuff slightly with their shape.
Some familiar signs, some familiar slogans which come out every time that the Aussies take to the sporting field in any sport of their choice, and that is something which is magnificent about this nation. Lots and lots of quality, and they do take this sport quite seriously and also have a lot of fun, which is exactly what these girls also seem to be having. Some outstanding attendances, Simon, and it's heartening to see. Oh, there's a number 10. Not quite sure if is that for Paredes or perhaps for another famous number 10.
Well, right here, let's attribute it to Paredes because he's a great player and deserves that kind of accolade. But the support here has just been across the board for all the teams. The crowds build as the day goes on. Great initiatives by the hosts to start with to get colleges, schools and workers into the stadium to create that atmosphere. Important for the teams to feel there is that interest.
Just to remind you that there are 2 sessions of play, so the evening session will feature England against Germany, and then the big one, which I'm sure all of Bhubaneswar will be eagerly waiting for, Belgium against India. And after India's performance in their last match against the Netherlands, who will fault the locals for being quite excited about the entire thing. But this is a match which is still up for grabs. Both teams have an equal opportunity with the scoreline at 1-1. Anything could still happen yet in this game, and that's why it will be of great importance what has been passed on to the players by coaches of the respective teams, Carlos Retehi and Graham Reid. Graham Reid is just about ready for a pitchside interview. It's over to Michael Absalom.
Graham, can we first of all get your assessment of that first half? A pacey start to go 1 ahead, but then some sloppy defending at the start of the second quarter.
Look, you know, I thought we started really well. We had that intensity that we were chasing. Some really good work up front. We got some results from it, and then we just lacked that little bit of touch at the back there and let them back in the game, which of course changes it. And so then you're playing a changed game, and so we just got to get back that control, and that's what we talked about.
What changes or advice have you given the team in that halftime talk?
I mean, the big thing for us is that it's a war of attrition, this game. You know, they always are against these guys. They're tough. You know, they'll keep fighting. So it's a war of attrition. But we need to stay composed, and we also need to stay connected on the field and communicate.
All the best in the second half.
Thanks.
Graham Reid himself a winner of 4 gold medals at the Champions Trophy as player, and also oversaw the team when they won gold at the Melbourne Champions Trophy 2 years ago. Just pretty much summing up what Simon Mason has been saying all this while as well. Keep composure and know the fact that Argentina will fight right down to the last minute of the 60. 1-1 at the moment, thanks to that man on screen right in the center, Matias Paredes with a fine opportunistic strike, but it was created first from the run from Lucas Villa and then a useful little helping hand, or helping stick one should say, of Facundo Gaglione. This has been happening on a couple of occasions today, but I'm sure once the communications are sorted, we will be right back with this second half, which promises a lot of fun. Simon Mason, former GBR goalkeeper, alongside me. And Simon, it has been a terrific start. The first 90 minutes have been as good as any in terms of the knockouts in this Hero Champions Trophy.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to Bayern, because the teams that are here are, to quote your hashtag, best of the best. And some of the teams who started poorly have grown into it, the likes of Pakistan and India and Argentina. They didn't look great in their first pool outing. I have to say I did worry for them, but they have grown and they've started to play to their strengths and are really delivering in key areas.
Australia pushing us back in the second quarter, both teams swapping in, so the green and gold of Australia will be visible from left to right, but early on here could be an opportunity for the Argentinians, going from right to left, and it was a bustling run. Just thought that Matthias Rey overran that last ball.
Yeah, he just didn't get the touch that he needed, did he? It was in front of him to start with, but then as he accelerated, his feet overran the ball. He didn't get the touch from his stick he needed. Just closed down his space.
Terrific intensity though. The last quarterfinal, which featured an upset result in many ways, Pakistan winning 4-2.
So in they go. There's a lovely little touch to go over the top from Matthias Rey. Didn't get the second touch that he needed to get the ball out in front of him.
Yes, Pakistan were 2-1 up at half-time, but they allowed Netherlands a whiff of an opportunity, got them back into the game thanks to an equalizer. But Argentina's perspective, they are, it must be said, the underdogs in this match, because Australia are playing their 193rd Champions Trophy game. No other team has played as many matches in this particular competition. That's just a tribute to their consistency, both of their results as well as of their appearances. Argentina, in contrast, just playing their 29th. The long ball, which was alluded to by Retegi between the two quarters in the first half, almost unlocking the Australian defence. But here they come. Simpson looking for the run of Craig, or Goads rather. He had a couple of players for support, but just couldn't get across to it.
And that communication, so as Goads has turned around, he's looked up and he's given the thumbs up, suggesting that the ball is being played to the right place. These players will know what the coach wants them to deliver. And if they're in slightly wrong positions, they'll acknowledge that the ball is correct, even though they haven't received it. So it encourages the teammate to keep giving that pass, not to think they've got to do something different.
Good play by Caglioni, the way that he took on three midfielders and eventually won a free hit. And Paredes was again looking for the overhead ball for Lucas Villa. But first to it were the Australian defenders. Now yet again, just Simpson not quite able to trap that one. Was in a great position but couldn't finish off the job.
And it is a difficult trap as the ball's played down. You're leading left to right and looking over your right shoulder to try and receive on your reverse. But there's more missed traps in that situation than I think a lot of the coaches here would be happy with. Seems like there's a basic level of skill that's just missing a few percent.
Simpson once again initiating this attack and getting some support. First from White. Now this is Okenden. He's got Goads inside the box, but just couldn't make the most of it. And now looking to pull away with the ball. Rossi does win a free hit for his own team.
Well, Rossi has absolutely set him up. Look at that. He's just held his stick there and drawn the contact. It's not pretty from Goads coming back, but Rossi knows exactly what he's doing. As you are driving out of defence or through midfield, if you've got a defender off either shoulder, if you simply allow the ball to drift in that direction, you can draw the contact, normally just to win the free hit.
Another one of that school of 2005, Lucas Rossi, winning the Junior Hockey World Cup, and perhaps this is finally the time that they are beginning to deliver. Confirmation of the card which was given to Goads for the previous offence.
We see how it's driven. So as Rossi steps forward there's nothing wrong with that. And as he comes through, he knows, look, there's a little glance, he knows where Goads is. He just checks to his right-hand side, draws the contact.
Yes, what is it about Argentinians and wily old foxes on the field? Know exactly what they're doing most of the time.
I think what's incredible at this level is the awareness of the players, not only of what they're doing and what they need to do next, but the spatial awareness, the peripheral vision to know what the passing opportunities are across this very, very big field when they're trying to control a ball that's so small.
It was a useful through ball, but Wetton just couldn't get it under his control. It was Cirello who sent that ball in. and had just got the defense napping for a little while. Argentina need to be careful. Need to begin, of course, with their tight defense, which they are actually very well known for and used to quite good effect, it must be said, at Den Haag during the Summer World Cup, finishing with a bronze medal finish. Also made in the semi-finals of that, where Australia ran out quite comfortable winners, 5-1. Now this one has been slipped through. It's a chance and Argentina get their second. It's Manuel Brunet who has the last touch, but yet again, like the previous goal, it was a beautifully worked team effort for Carlos Reteji's Argentina.
The first goal was a three-man passing move. That was exactly the same. It is a delightful under-the-arm pass. This spin and dump from Paredes is fantastic. Eyes up, in it goes. The easiest of finishers. This sets everything up. Overlapping run. That's a beautiful bit of right hand to open the face of the stick to get the lift to go across the goal. It wasn't the most simple of finish. Brunet had to play through the line of the ball to ensure it was on goal.
Nothing much that Tyler Lovell could have done there. The replacement goalkeeper who's come on again in place of Andrew Charter. Terrific finish, but just as much credit both to Matias Paredes for initiating that effort, and then the last touch just before Brunet coming in from Menini.
There's a big hit on the 25. Two players going for the ball, the 50-50. Daniel Beal getting a crack in the hip or in the midriff, I think, as the two players came together. Both players going for that. There's a reach in there from Rossi. He sees the contacts coming and just braces himself for the impact. I think as Beal jumps into it slightly and crunches up, I think it's a hip impact. Might have got a dead leg out of it.
Tells you about the intensity both in this game as well as in this quarter, where Argentina have just gone ahead thanks to their second goal. Terrific team effort.
This is a great ball. We were just talking about vision. That touch there is delightful. It had to have a lift to get over the top of the goalkeeper. Brilliant awareness to create that from Lopez, and in doing so sets up Brunet with the easiest tap-in finish. Not sure what that's about, but he enjoyed it anyway.
Well, he has definitely silenced the Aussies for the moment, but there is still a lot of hockey to be played. But are we looking at what might be termed as a second upset result? Mind you, the way that the two teams have performed, we did surmise before the match that it was very difficult to call this one.
It was because of momentum, because Australia's just been misfiring slightly, and Argentina have been growing throughout the tournament, and they've just got the skills. And once again, as we saw from Pakistan earlier, you play to your strengths, you sit back, but what's brilliant is the understanding between these experienced Argentinian players.
Dawson with the pass in, which was beautifully received by Craig, who's walked all the way down the baseline. Penalty corner for Australia. Argentina not too happy. And a couple of words being exchanged as well. So action hotting up here on this blue turf, setting it ablaze, are Australia and Argentina here in Bhubaneswar.
It was great skill down the baseline from Tom Craig. Balls come in. Look at this tight control. Good foot round. Either way, ding, ding, ding. Little hint of a stick obstruction, which is what Rossi was asking for. He then pulls it back onto a foot, which is fine, and there's a little bit of handbags in the middle of the circle. There's a hint of a stick obstruction, but it was an Australian corner. Without a doubt. It wasn't against Rossi. He wasn't penalised, but there was a foot.
Yes, and let's just say nobody applied the brakes on time as the action went on. But this is that opening which Australia would have been looking for to get their second back. Oh, it's a fantastic finish. Jeremy Hayward with his third for this Hero Champions Trophy. He now draws level with Sam Ward, Mink van der Weerden and Mohammad Irfan of Pakistan with 3 goals.
This comes out and is trapped clean. Plants the front foot and rotates round it. Vivaldi could possibly have done better, but it's a slingshot. He picks it in there, whips it out. That changes the direction. Vivaldi doesn't read it early because it goes over his left-hand glove. Postman nowhere near it.
Could be described as a polite applause in the end from Graham Reid, because he knows the job is far from over. The Australian defence has exposed a few deficiencies. And that's exactly what they'll be looking to try and address in these remaining 24 minutes or so in this match. Here's Lucas Villa again, almost getting it into the box. Does get some support though. Mazzilli, good to see him out there.
Yeah, he's finally made his way in. We haven't seen him or mentioned him at all. And off that note, he's bound to now do something fantastic and score. With the standard format for us commentators, we mention someone or something happens.
This has been smashed in, but not with any accuracy at all. Looking for those deflections again. The scorer of the equaliser.
This is the corner. Look, it goes straight over the top of Vivaldi's hand. It's the power that he generates. You step off the front foot and rotate the hips and shoulders. That's what creates the power. It's that slow, quick drag and whip. And Vivaldi, A, doesn't read it, and then B, just can't get there because of the pace.
Somewhat reminiscent of a couple of players from other teams, Mink van der Weyden as well as Rupinder Pal Singh. They also have that huge flick of the wrist, and they also like going for that top right.
Yeah, and what the average watcher doesn't appreciate is the stresses that puts on the lower limbs, because you have to plant that front foot to give you the anchor. We've seen in earlier games, Mink van der Weyden planted and slipped. And by creating that anchor, you then drive the entire body weight over and through that front leg, rotating the hips and the shoulders.
This is Orchard. It's taken a bit of a deflection, but it's come pretty much from outside of the box, which is why this has been given as a sideline ball, but it was an Argentinian stick right at the end of it. Good spell of pressure here from Australia. If they can reclaim the lead in this match, that will do their confidence a world of good.
Well, I'm surprised there in the first instance that Manny Brunet got away with that, because it was a massive stick obstruction that you could see from our camera angle. But then the contact doesn't surprise me. That's a bit horrible. We could see a card here quite easily, because it was ugly from Jeremy Hayward. We didn't know.
Yes, he's a young man who is prone to do some of these silly things.
Oh, look at this stick obstruction there. There's definite lead with the stick from Brunet into the tackle to try and protect the ball. Nothing wrong with the contact, but gets away with it slightly. It's a really difficult line for the umpires. It's almost impossible for them to see, given the line of the tackle.
This was Tom Craig, who was charging down the right flank, but picked up by the Argentinian defense. Some desperate defending, eventually getting the ball away, but a decision going in favor of the Aussies. Russell Ford will take the sideline ball.
It's where the empathy, the umpires, the understanding that they have is so important, because stick obstruction is only stick obstruction if you move the stick away from the ball. You are allowed to accelerate, you're allowed to stop, you're allowed to change direction and turn.
This is a couple of fortunate attempts which nearly found the ball right on a platter for Daniel Beale, and he'll be disappointed he didn't at least extract a save out of Vivaldi there.
It's 3 or 4 deflections. Rusty Ford getting his feet round well and pulling it back to Beale. That's a great little drop off. Beale, yes, you're absolutely right, Devine. Should have got something on target.
But this is looking much better from Australia. As I say that, Craig almost loses possession, but still with the green and gold. He'll be looking to finish this second, or rather the third quarter, on a high. Remember, if the score stays level after 60 minutes, we will see the shootout for the first time in this Hero Champions Trophy. But this is a good position here.
Beale goes down to ground under contact. There's a hint of a push, and we have seen corners during the course of this competition. To me, that's in the circle. I've seen corners given for less.
Instead, it's a free hit for the Argentinians. So a terrific spell of pressure, which has rewarded them with a goal for the Aussies, and this is what they're known for. This is why they are holders of this championship as well. 5 consecutive Champions Trophies, more possession in this game, and even in the other numbers they have lauded over Argentina. But Argentina, it must be said, have made the most of whatever little chances they've had.
Well, that's the issue. You see, Australia only 50% conversion from penetrations into shots. Argentina with 100% conversion. 5 circle penetrations, 5 shots. Sorry, 4 and 4. I'm completely misreading the stats on my own screen.
It's been that kind of a day, and still lots more to come. England, Germany, Belgium, India making up the remaining quarterfinalists. Yet to come on what is a massive, massive day. The first judgment days of sorts in this Euro Champions Trophy. Now this will be whipped in, but first to it is the Argentinian midfielder. Yet it's been picked up here by Ford. Good ball through. almost finding his way there in. It's young Ogilvy. Might be a follow-up shot and it lands inside the goal. It's young Daniel Beal. Massive, massive moment it could turn out to be. Needed to get that finish and he's done that.
He has got that, and we're looking down to the right of our commentary position. I wondered if the Argentinians were going to go to replay. It seemed there was a hint of third man obstruction in the middle of the circle.
For Argentina, can you tell me? Can you hear me first? I can hear you. Great. Argentina asking for an obstruction before the shot of goal, please. If you could look for that. I'll have a look for an obstruction. Thank you.
Okay, so it goes into the circle. It's ugly. Argentina get turned over. Russell Ford creates it in the first instance, and it just gets fired in. It's not pretty at any point, but it's brilliant skill from Ogilvy. And then it just goes through Vivaldi, but is there a hint of third man obstruction to create the space for the slap? Nothing wrong with this movement from Russell Ford. There's nothing there. Gets played in. Ogilvy dribbling beautifully, no issue. Is that an obstruction? I'd suggest not, is my first reaction, and that I don't think Simon Orchard will be penalised for it in any way.
You're absolutely right, and Australia have their third. This is potentially a huge moment in this game. One always got the impression Australia had that firepower to get back into it, but now that they have the lead, that will just stand them in even better stead in this match.
Yeah, I think even though it was a bit of a grasping at straws from Argentina, they're right to go for it. If a player feels that there's a hint of obstruction in there, at this stage, with only 1 quarter remaining, ideally you go into the 3-quarter break level, give yourself a chance to regroup, set yourself some objectives for that last 15, but Australia play passes like that. They very nearly got picked off by Villa. You need to be careful playing long ball that's not under contest.
Argentina will need to look for those kind of reserves which they showed in both guts, gumption as well as skill in the match against India, where they were trailing on a couple of occasions, came back to win it 4-2, and that's pretty much the situation which stares them in the face right now. At least 1 goal back in, and they will be able to take this the second quarterfinal in this Hero Champions Trophy to a shootout. But before that, they'll need some tidy defending of their own, because Jake Wetton has worked his way in. Have they found a foot? Oh, a chance here for Wetton to notch up his third. Vivaldi doesn't do very well with his defense, and eventually it's been given as a penalty corner. Good umpiring, because he had initially spotted a ball to the foot but had played advantage.
He did play advantage, and that's not a great bit of goalkeeping. It's a panicked attempt at a clearance. Vivaldi had to come forwards. You see it goes in. It's not ugly. It's not pretty down the baseline. It's Wetton who just keeps driving. Vivaldi managed to get that swing, is what gives away the corner, basically. He could have gone left hand. If he'd gone left hand, he could have played that through. In the end, it's a simple corner for Argentina, because that's hit the body as it's gone towards goal of Brunet.
Well, the big dog is back in action. Chris Cirello, his massive frame, somebody who's already had a couple of hat-tricks in major finals this year. It is Chris Cirello, but the first runner coming down. It's been given as yet another penalty corner. Lucas Rossi not very pleased, and he's showing it.
Yeah, Rossi fuming because he feels that he's run straight down the line of this. It's a straight line run. Look, he's run straight down the line of that. He does pick it on his stick and then he kicks it. It's a brilliant bit of umpiring to see that first thing. It's an upright stick in front of the shin guards, down onto the toe of his shoe. He probably didn't even feel that contact.
They've got both batteries set up, and Budgeon is there as well. Oakenden will probably make the stop. Cirello is in there, and there is Hayward just to his left. Will they work a variation? Indeed they do! Hayward goes for it and just squirts it wide. Oh, that was close.
It's a simple routine. Out to top Castle, slipped across. He didn't have a lot of space. There was pressure on him. Now that's gone inside Brunet on that right-hand post. As a postman in that situation, what you'd be looking to do is actually step to your right, so that anything that's going wide of your left hip is going wide. If you're inside it and you try to play at it, all of a sudden any touch, and it's going in your own net.
Well, Hayward must have been great at geometry, because he got a very acute angle between the runner.
Well, it's gone here. There's pressure on him, but we look in, it goes inside the postman. Postman's step left, That's where the postman has to step the other way. If you're going to protect that channel, you're helping your goalkeeper.
Is bisecting that angle between the postman and the goalkeeper and yet not finding a goal. So very, very close but no cigar. Coming down to the last minute and a half or so of this third quarter, Australia increasing the playing with a lot more fluidity in their movements, and Argentina just beginning to look a little ragged, especially in defense, which was not the case, it must be said, in the first half. They had their moments as well. They were leading 2-1 at one stage, but Australia have come fighting back like the champions that they are. Is that a foot inside the D? Nevertheless, it is Craig who's doing very well, and eventually a snapshot attempted by Wetton. And now here comes Brunet. The last few seconds, what will Argentina do here? Do they have enough gas left in the tank, as the Americans might say?
Well, I think they're doing okay physically, but they're just getting punished for cheap turnovers. They're down in one of those side pockets and they're looking to drill it across. Now, interesting, Paredes taking the choice not to smash that into Hayward, who'd fallen on the floor. I think that's good sportsmanship, even though you are at this stage of the game. They will try and get it into the circle, though. And Charter coming forwards, legs together, blocking it up and knocking it off.
There's Menini trying a reverse, but still no luck for them. And eventually they do run out of time in this quarter. And after 3 quarters in this game, this match going a little bit towards the way of the defending champions. It's Argentina 2, Australia 3. Australia have come fighting back in this quarter itself. Carlos Retegi will perhaps not yet think about the fact that the opportunity somewhat was missed to get up and about in this game. But Australia, we always thought it would be coming. There would be a fight back coming. That's exactly what Graham Reid did allude to during his halftime interview, and that's what their team have done. But it must be said, some excellent individual skills from Argentina, but they need to put it together as one comprehensive package, as they did both against Germany as well as in the previous encounter in the pool stages against India, to give their fans something to cheer about. Argentina fighting to get back into semi-final contention, and for that they'll need to get at least 1 goal inside the last 15 minutes of regulation time in this second quarterfinal of the Hero Champions Trophy.
Continuación de jugada, atacarles el pie izquierdo y a partir de ahí es vertical.
Come back firing, Simon, in most of the quarters, and that is exactly what they'll be expected to do. But it will be difficult now because Australia are beginning to find some great rhythm.
Yeah, they're finding some great rhythm, but they're also just forcing the Argentinians into different areas. We haven't seen them get into that bottom right-hand pocket in that third quarter very much. They need to then just rework how they're going to get there. Are they going to go out to the left-hand side and then shift round? Are they going to go left and then go cross-field aerial? They've got that overhead threat from Piat, and they can, if they can just draw the Australian press out to them, there is the space in behind it if they can get enough height on that overhead.
Flag fluttering just a little bit, indicative of just some kind of a breeze which will make things a little more comfortable. Sun is also just beginning to go down here. It's just about 3 p.m. Local time in the afternoon. And it's Australia who get things moving and immediately look to charge through the left flank of theirs, but eventually the ball possession does fall to the Argentinians. Argentina need to find that equalizer, need to find it quickly to be on target for what will, if they record it, be only their second victory in 5 attempts in the history of the Champions Trophy against Australia. 1987 lost out 4-1, 2003 in Amstelveen lost 3-8, then lost 6-0 in 2006. But their last meeting in 2008, even though Australia went on to win the championship in Rotterdam, the Argentinians did win 2-1. Matty Dawson looking to scoop this one up. Matthias Ray.
Good pick up in centre midfield. Needed to do that and get away from the congestion that there was. Australia winning the ball at the in that centre zone really isn't something you want to be turning over because they've got too much pace through the flanks. Argentina, on the other hand, just need to bring it out to those midfield channels, left and right, away from contact. It opens up better passing lanes, and they can then use those one-on-one skills that have been so effective so far this competition.
The contrast is evident here. Much more length in terms of the passes being played by the Australians, while Argentinians prefer getting into those little triangles, short passes. That's what Lucas Villa is looking to do down the left. Oh, sublime skill once again. Controlling the ball beautifully, but has he just run himself into a corner?
Well, he has just slightly, but was supported initially by Brunet as he went down the side. It was Brunet's support run that offered the passing opportunity, and Australia had to cover that because it was an inside ball. Once you get within 25-30 metres of the goal, you need to be able to cut towards goal. Just running to the corner flag is no good to anybody offensively. You need to be able to get the ball from outside the left foot to inside the right foot and drive in a straight line with the hips straight.
Saw that steely look in Carlos Retequi's eyes, but mixed with that was a fair amount of anxiety because he knows he's up against a top quality side, and that just makes getting back into it all the more difficult. Fergus Kavanagh picking up a green card, which won't help the Australian cause one bit. Still a bit of time left in this match. Still time for a few twists to the tail.
Yeah, great commitment from Ockenden as he goes over to the bench, sliding full length to try to intercept. And there will be moments in these last 12 minutes when we're looking to really put the screws on with Argentina.
This is where Argentina have their best chance yet again. A sublime effort, but Charter does exceedingly well. Might be a follow-up opportunity, doesn't come their way. Facundo Caglioni not happy.
Yeah, absolutely right, but it was back sticks in the circle. Goalkeeper's picked up a knock down beneath us, but as play goes on, that's a corner. That's for knocking the ball away. That is absolutely obvious. It's immature.
Yes.
And Hiladi pointing to the other side, but that's not going to help his cause one bit, because when you've given away PC, it's actually a chance for Australia.
Well, this was the Argentinian counter-attack, floated down the middle. It's very, very good bit of goalkeeping from Charter, who steps out. He takes a knock. I think the ball hits him on the top of the knee. That's then potentially, that's the free hit for hitting the foot. Argentinian defender. The whistle goes now, then he knocks the ball away. I don't see how you can contest that at all.
More out of frustration, one would imagine, but Argentina have got to pull themselves together, especially against this man. Cirello is setting up as one of the batteries for this. Let's see, Cirello, will he go for this or will they look to work a variation? Doesn't seem to have too many batteries alongside. It is Cirello, and it is the fourth goal for Australia. It's also the third goal for Chris Cirello, and this now means that he draws level with Sam Ward, Mink van der Wouden and Irfan as well, with yet another goal in this competition.
Yeah, Chris Cirello making it look absolutely easy. Out the top, the stop changes and he just slides it off his wrist. It takes a touch off the #1 runner. Didn't see that in real time, but it's the faintest of deflections. It completely does the postman, who's changed to his left foot. Stick goes it down, but it's too slow. There's the touch to change the angle. Vivaldi's toes deflecting it in towards his postman. Absolutely no help for him at all. Almost impossible to stop with that combination of touches.
As the horse just bolted from the stable here from Argentina's perspective. They were 2-1 up at one stage, but it has been a magnificent comeback into this game, showing what stuff champions are made of from Australia.
Yes, indeed, and it's just been patient build-up. It hasn't been exceptional Australian play. But as Argentina tire slightly, a little bit lack of discipline every now and again, and you get punished for it.
Here come Argentina. Can they find this one goal to set up a grandstand finish to this quarterfinal? Oh, terrific steal right in defence from young Matty Dawson.
Yes, indeed. And Villa, I thought for a minute he was on his reverse. He was going to pull the trigger, as he did so often in the World Cup, and fire one of his high backhand shots towards the roof of the net. It's what he does so well. The angle of the run was exactly right. If you're cutting right to left across the pitch, that's when you can pull through on the backhand. But he wasn't given the space, and Matty Dawson was able to just get the touch in and knock the ball away.
What a fantastic opportunity for young Matty Dawson, just 20 years of age, and in his first major competition. And he has, it must be said, come up with a very fair performance for Australia, who have been improving with each game and will be dangerous contenders in the semi-final, whoever they come up against. Should they make it, of course. There's still a little over 10 minutes to go. And as this first day of quarterfinals has shown, you can take nothing for granted in this Hero Champions Trophy.
Fergus Kavanagh with a little deflection across the baseline just to get the ball away from danger. Not sure that's gone 5 yards.
In a hurried rush to try and get that ball going, the Argentinians have actually given possession away. And Australia now with that 2-goal cushion will feel a lot better and will want to keep as much possession as possible. That's a great ball through from Orchard. Slapped in.
What a save!
Terrific work from Vivaldi to deny what was almost definitely going to be Russell Ford's 73rd international goal.
Well, textbook skills, execution in terms of the cross was flat and hard, the angles were perfect. The first ball across the pitch was sublime in terms of the awareness and vision from Australia.
There's been a card here for the Argentinians, and that will not make their work any easier.
No, I think it's Australia, sorry to Brian to say that, I think it's Australia who've gone off with the yellow card for breaking down play. It's Ockenden who's taking his seat down there for a minimum of 5 minutes.
We saw this proving to be a pivotal point in the last quarter-final when there was a 10-minute suspension for one of the Dutch players, Sander Baart. Australia have the benefit, of course, of having the scoreline on their side.
Good skills in central midfield. That's really well done from Beale.
And Simpson now releasing Wetton on the left. He's got Orchard and Russell Ford moving into goal-scoring positions, but cool, calm, collected defending from Gonzalo Peña, who will be very disappointed as yet because not had any goal-scoring opportunities today. Ockenden has had a goal before, but at the moment he has a card.
And a moment ago, that man denying Australia yet another goal. Piat goes to the air. We talked about them possibly going a little bit more into the overheads as they tried to force the game slightly.
Brunet finding Lucas Villa, who's so good when he needs to just hold on to possession of the ball, has also winning free hits for his team. He's gone into the D, very frustrated, bangs the turf in exasperation.
I'm not sure there was anything wrong with what happened as he went into the D. He was looking for 2 or 3 stick tackles at times. Ha! Has come down with snow on it.
I think pretty much like Hiladi, Villa's reaction more to do with just a frustration, recognizing this situation, because Argentina have again played a good game, but on the whole they've been outplayed thus far. There is time yet. They're working those passes in. This was hit rather desperately by Ibarra.
Well, here we see Villa trying to dink and jink his way into the circle, feels that he got stick checked, and now showing his displeasure as he's asking for it, bashing his stick into the turf. I've seen players do that when the stick comes back and hits them in the face because it bounces off the floor so much.
Is maybe just helping out those in charge of the ground, telling them there's enough water. Now this is Tom Craig at the other end. A 5th goal here will almost definitely seal the issue for the Aussies. Leno Gilby, great skill, cutting it back in as well.
It surprises me that's not a corner, because Ogilvy definitely got checked as he came in. No contact there, but here there is contact. That's missed the ball, it's taken his feet away from him. Not sure how that can't be perceived to be a foul. Right deciding otherwise, it's not going to be a corner for Australia.
Wadi Aladi, one of the more experienced and as a result one of the more aged players in this squad, was making a few lapses in the last few minutes. Now this time there was a chance to move into the box from Brunet, but beautiful bit of defending from Australia. That'll gladden the hearts of most Kookaburra supporters and especially coach Graham Reid, because they've shown that they can not only come back into a game but also hold on to the lead, but they'll need to do so for the next 6 minutes. Orchard on to Ford. Craig is up front. Orchard holding up the ball. Craig is in the middle, but Ford was making a beautiful run for it. Back with Rusty Ford, smashing it in.
That was nearly an incredible ball across to Danny Beale, who'd come all the way up the right-hand side. Not to be in Argentina, that's a hopeful ball from Villa. It was never going to get there with just a push.
That's terrific commitment from Craig, doing all that he could, literally sliding along the floor because he needed to keep that one in play. Back with the Argentinians into the last 5 minutes or so. If they can find one goal that can just spark their spirit somewhat, but you get the impression, just looking at the overall body language of the two teams, that Australia are, thanks to this fourth goal, cruising it.
Yeah, it's a long drag. He's such a powerful man. As soon as he can open up his shoulders, there's the touch to the number one runner, and indeed the postman should have done better. No danger of it not going out the circle. Nonchalant.
He's got a very interesting India connection as well. His maternal grandfather, Rudolf Pacheco, actually played for the Indian hockey team.
Every day's a school day.
This is Lucas Villa down the left, getting into the middle, sweeping it through, looking for Mazzilli, but he's not had any impact whatsoever on this game, and that has no doubt contributed somewhat to the attacking flair being left to the other players, and perhaps lacking just that little 10% extra that they might have had. Now this is Tom Craig. Oh, good work from him, but eventually dispossessed. Mazzilli. Who can he find? He's almost found Paredes. But first to it here is Fergus Kavanagh. Tom Craig again looking for Kavanagh. The interception nearly comes in from Ibarra, but it does fall for Kavanagh. Turn back in. Oh, that could so easily have been another goal for the Aussies and would have finished the deal off. But Ogilvy denied by some good goalkeeping.
That's two outstanding saves from Vivaldi. This is the second one. A moment ago he made another diving save. That one left hand high, good body position. It's about all that Ogilvy could do. He actually gets too close to it, so doesn't get contact with the head of the stick. It's the grip.
Terrific commitment though from both teams, and Australia knowing that they just need to hold off the Argentinian attacks, and they will have seen themselves through yet to another semi-final performance. Has been a good all-round team effort from them, right from goal as well as to the forward line. Pirello. This has been lobbed up by Cirello, looking for Beale, one of 4 goal scorers today for Australia. The other goals coming in, of course, from Simon Orchard, Jeremy Hayward, as well as Chris Cirello from the penalty corner just in this fourth quarter. Bit of a mid-pitch collision and some handbags off the ball. In the meantime, Australia moving forward. I wonder if the umpires will be keen to have a look at that. In fact, Matthias Ray still not pleased about the little bit of contact, waving his hands about, would perhaps be better off going in and helping out in defence.
Yeah, you would have thought so. At this stage in the game, it all just gets a little bit ugly. The game is beyond the Argentinians, you would think, with only 100 seconds left to play. The umpires just need to keep an eye on this. Nobody wants to pick up any unnecessary knocks and injuries and even cards at this stage of the game.
Just to explain, even if they do go down here, which looks the most likely result here for Argentina, they will have an opportunity to fight for 5th to 8th places, and they will take on the team which emerges as the loser from the quarterfinal between England and Germany, which is of course also the quarterfinal to follow. This has been slapped in with some pace. It's well received, good bit of control. He's working himself into a goal scoring position. Lucas Villa, oh, well defended.
Yeah, Lucas Villa would have done better just to tuck that onto the body of the Australian defender. Cynical, but would have been effective.
This time it does happen in their favour, because Tim Deven has had that ball. He's claiming it's come onto his hand, and no harm in any case, because Australia have that referral in any case.
I suggest they've gone
just
to video
one guy,
referral.
yeah, the rest.
Video is going to ask the
Team
question.
referral, Australia. Looking for a foot there. Yep. You can look at the 5 and see as well. My judgment was it's okay, but you can have a look. Let's go for the foot. Yeah. Dion, can you please repeat the question slowly? Thank you.
Okay, good.
Well, I think what Eddie Ockenden's appealing against is actually the height of the ball into the circle. I'm not sure there's a question about whether it hit the foot or not. That seems pretty clear off Tim Deven. But there's a suggestion that the original ball in was high. Remember, it's not about height, it's about danger.
I want to look if the ball travels 5 meters.
Hey! Let's get out. Just get up there, guys.
Okay, actually, just to clarify, sorry, that's about, the question is about whether it's moved 5 yards before it comes in or not. So we'll need to go back slightly before that. Before it gets played in, there's no question of it hitting the foot. It did hit the foot. There's no question of danger, which I first thought the question was. So it's about, we'll need a longer replay. It's about whether it initially moves 5 yards. Whether it moves 5 yards from the sideline. Now that's a diagonal line in, so we can't really base it on the marker on the baseline.
Well, Dion Nell's original decision was a penalty corner, so will there be sufficient evidence to overturn it?
Right, so it goes from the sideline here. We're looking for 5 yards. It's in, it's in, it's in, it's in. Is that 5 yards? So that's a really tough call. There's no markings on the pitch to really relate to. It's a diagonal running line, so again it's the hypotenuse of a triangle as you're trying to look at markings on the sidelines.
Ask Hayward, he's the expert at geometry, as he showed earlier with a couple of his penalty corner attempts.
Yeah, I mean this well, if it was my job, I'd struggle to overrule this, only because look how far from the 5 yard mark he is. He's coming into the 5 yard mark on a diagonal line. That's going to be somewhere, well, to me that's kind of somewhere between 4 and 6. It certainly isn't up to 6, but it'll be a tough one to overrule, you would feel.
Could lead to an exciting finish.
The ball has not traveled 5 meters before it entered the circle, so therefore you continue with the bully.
Argentina, have they lost that opportunity to make this an exciting finish?
And there's touch with the defender on that as well.
Excuse me?
Okay, so the opinion is it hasn't.
By the defender.
It's not about the defender. The question was for 5. It's not gone 5 yards.
Look again, one moment, please.
Yeah, please, make something, please.
Now they want to look at whether it hit the foot, which at first evidence it did seem like it was the case.
Okay, so I think, however, the video umpire, my understanding is the video umpire is allowed to look at the whole passage of play. So we think it does hit a foot, but before it goes into the circle, it hasn't moved 5. Therefore, there is an infringement within the 25 that affects an outcome. So as my understanding, I'm quite happy for any of the social media channels for people to tell us that we're wrong, or I'm wrong, is that because during the passage of that play there is a foul, the corner isn't given.
Stick to your decision if you're happy with that.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to stay with that then. Thank you. We're going with the corner, guys. Corner.
So, at 4-2, with just about 51 seconds on the clock, Argentina have an opportunity to make this a very, very exciting finish. What's also happening parallelly for Carlos Retehi is Juan Vivaldi is coming off, and he's going to bring on one player with goalkeeping privileges, but that will all follow after this penalty corner is taken. Gonzalo Payat hasn't had a goal yet.
I know you mentioned that, but you're allowed to substitute at penalty corners? The Argentinian goalkeeper has come off the pitch.
What's more, there is no Payat at the moment, so they will have to depend on some of their other players. But Pedro Ibarra in particular is an expert at these set pieces. This one for 3-4. It takes a couple of wicked deflections. Another penalty corner.
It's out to the top and it's fired in. It takes that off the left foot of the first runner. That's going to be painful. It's around the houses, as you call it, out to the right-hand side and then pulled back to the left from an offensive perspective.
Tough as nails, young Jeremy Hayward showing absolutely no signs of discomfort. Just quickly trots back to his defensive position. Ibarra again, this time
saved
it has
on the
been well
line.
saved.
Ciriello picks it off his toes.
Terrific team performance here from the Australians, giving it everything right in the dying seconds.
can Argentina rather find a consolation goal of their own? Now, there is no goalkeeper for Argentina. Only a man with goalkeeping privileges, that being Gonzalo Peña.
So he would be allowed to play it with his body in his own circle if the Australians get that far. They're not going to.
Absolutely not. This is turning out to be a good result here. Australia win this match eventually. They have fought back magnificently well in the second quarter final. Final scoreline here at Bhubaneswar. Argentina 2, Australia 4. Great resolve, great determination, stuff which champion teams are made of, and no team knows as much about winning, especially in this format of the Hero Champions Trophy, as the Aussies, and they've shown that great sportsman spirit between the two coaches as well. Graham Reed's team having to fight back and scrap against Carlos Reteji's Argentina, who were up 2-1 till the 36th minute, and Australia getting that equalizer inside a minute, which made a difference. Jeremy Hayward's equalizer just brought things back on track, and from then on it looked like there was only one likely winner, and that has turned out to be the Kookaburras. So the Kookaburras once again back in semi-final contention. Final scoreline, Argentina 2, Australia 4. Exactly the identical scoreline from the previous match, Mace, but this time perhaps one would suggest the slightly more expected result.
It was slightly more expected, but the Australians hadn't been firing on all cylinders and the Argentinians have been stepping forward, but they were just a bit quiet. Menini, there was no real support into Villa. We didn't see Mazzilli at all. So Ibarra and Paredes just had that little bit too much to do. Australia just fired a little bit better in their small pattern play, and then the corners came to the fore.
Well, this is what transpired in the second half. Early on, Argentina with that goal which just sparked things alive.
Did indeed. It was a beautiful pass and then laid across. And the man Menini, we said, didn't do very much, gave the ball there, but suddenly it was then Hayward at the other end on the corners, opening his body and slingshotting past Vivaldi, who had no chance because of the pace. You've then got some great individual skill. The ball eventually popping out and Beal slapping it between Vivaldi's feet. It went to video replay, but there was nothing in there that could be classified as an obstruction. The goalkeeper unsighted for Australia to take the lead.
What we would have noticed on that last goal was just a little slack defending. This one again, a top finish from Cirello.
Yeah, and he gets a tiny touch off the number one runner to change the lines, which means that Brunet doesn't see it cleanly, but probably should have done better nonetheless. Needed to stick flat on the deck to pick it up off Cirello.
The numbers will be in favour of Australia, and that's not surprising at all considering how the game eventually panned out. But Argentina deserve a lot of credit for their conversion rate. 2 goals out of 4 shots, 8 circle penetrations to 14, and no conversions from penalty corners yet for Argentina. So they remain the only team other than Germany who haven't scored by that route. A little bit more indiscipline from Australia in terms of cards, but turn out to be the winners. Australia the winners in this match, the champions from the last 5 editions. Let's go over to Michael Absalom for the post-match presentation of this Australian victory over Argentina.
Good afternoon and welcome along to the post-match presentation for this Hero Champions Trophy 2014, the game between Australia and Argentina. Now we are joined by the president of the SIH, Leandro Negre, joins us. Thank you very much to give this check for 25,000 rupees and the Man of the Match trophy to today's Man of the Match. It's Thomas Craig! Congratulations, Thomas. Well done. Let's get your reaction, first of all, to being in the semi-finals.
Pretty ecstatic, really. This is my first tournament, and to come away with a win in a quarter-final. Bit of a shaky start, but I think the tournament, you only need to win 3 games, so here's hoping.
Looked like a physical contest out there, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think tempers boiled over maybe a little bit towards the end, but I think quarter-final, Champions Trophy, you've got to expect it. So it was good to get the win, and onwards and upwards, I think.
Good semi-final lineup potentially as well with either England or Germany. What are your thoughts ahead of that?
Should be a good encounter, I think. Both teams playing some pretty good hockey, and we're going to be around watching and pretty eager to see who we're going to face up, so yeah.
obviously lost to England earlier on in the tournament. You can put that behind you going forward.
I think so. Well, finals hockey is completely different, as we saw with that. So, yeah, I guess just look forward to it and put in a good performance.
Keep going, keep the momentum up. Let's hear it one more time from man of the match.
The young teenager from New South Wales, originally from New Zealand, of course, and playing a good, confident game alongside his teammates. Great pictures if you're a Kookaburra supporter, and it must be said, Simon Mason, picking up momentum as the matches go on, winning this all-important knockout game.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to win ugly, and I think there's a lot of stuff in there that the Australians could still work on. There's another 2 or 3 gears that they would find to get to where their sort of real, true world class sits. So that whilst they've won that, they've won it well, and there's some more to come from them, and they'll be looking with half an eye onto their future opponents.
Vivaldi just shakes his head because he tried his best, but it didn't quite work out. 2-4, 2-4, and going by that pattern, if that gets converted into the next 2 games as well, then we'll get Germany and India in the semi-finals. But England versus Germany will be the next game. That's at 5:15 p.m. local time. You can subtract 5:30 from that to get the GMT to work out where you need to watch it or how you need to watch it at what time in your region. And at 7:30 p.m., that is 2 p.m. in GMT, it's going to be Belgium against India. 2 very, very attractive encounters, Simon.
Yeah, and there'll be lots of fans around the world looking forward to those, none more so than as the crowd build towards that Indian game at the end, when we'll see yet another sellout crowd. The stadium will be bouncing to see India take on that quarter-final.
And of course, England has also played some very good hockey, which is why the evening session should see a greater turnout in terms of fans coming in to watch the English as well. So it's just about 1 hour 45 minutes away from now in local time. Do join us for the 3rd quarter-final, which will be between England and Germany. For the moment, it's goodbye.